Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we're returning to another episode of Strategic Command World War II, World at War. It is August of 1943, and we're about to enter into the critical month of September, which is probably the last reliably good month of weather for us before things start to change. Now, the good news is we're driving on the second Soviet capital. We are nearing it. So even if we don't take it this turn, as the weather starts to turn, we're hopefully going to be close enough that we can grind it to dust and during the winter slowly. And then come the spring, we'll hopefully be in a position to counter the final Soviet capital at Perm. But we'll see. We've got a bunch of Soviet sort of major industrial centers here to the east at Chelyabinsk, at Maganovsk, Severodvinsk, and Perm. I'm sure those are all mangled pronunciation-wise. That are kind of the backbone of the final line of Soviet cities. But the Soviets have, I'd say, their strongest and most potent force is just to the north of Moscow, with three Soviet armies, one corps, 3 mechanized armies, 1 tank army that we can see, 2 headquarters units, which unfortunately I can't attack, although I did damage one of them. And then to the west they have 1 armored unit, and they have quite a few strong units here north of the Baltics as well. Meanwhile, in North Africa is about to fall. There's a German garrison at Cairo faced by a British corps. A British armored unit is moving into the rear near El Agheila. And a American force has entered Libya as well after taking Tunisia. And the invasion of Italy is only a matter of time, so we'll see how long our forces can... I don't know if our forces are holding out, but at least, I suppose, tentatively? I don't know. Let's upgrade those guys. I kind of want to... Can they operate there? They can't. That's on another island, so they have to transport the army to... I'm kind of tempted to move this Italian army onto the Sicilian island, just because I think the Americans will invade Sicily first, but I'm not quite sure. Anyway, so the situation on the Russian front was as you saw. On the Chinese front, we've driven deep into the heart of China. We've taken 2 Chinese capitals. We're advancing on the final Chinese capital way the hell out to the west here. We just destroyed 2 Chinese units here near the town of Zhengye. I'm never going to try and pronounce it. Xingye, however you pronounce that, and we nearly destroyed a 3rd. We also are advancing on Gulmund here in the south, and our hope is that we can kind of break out, drive west, take Guazhou, and then drive on Umrichi. Maybe we can take Guazhou next turn. If we can't take it, then maybe we can at least get close to it, and then by the time we start really getting into the heart of the winter, we'll be slowly advancing up this road line with very bad supply until we can reach Umrichi and destroy it. Meanwhile, we have started peeling off our ground units to move them move them south to deal with the British forces here in the southern portion of China, near Kunming. But it is what it is. I mean, they're there, but they don't have good supply, so they're having much trouble projecting their force beyond this region. Meanwhile, we've begun the invasion of Burma in earnest. We just launched our first attack on Rangoon. We've taken Molman, and we're trying to get our headquarters unit in position at Molman so we can support the advance. The British Navy in the Indian Ocean is potent and strong, and it is here, and we're trying to get a reinforced and reinvigorated Japanese Navy in position to launch an attack and hopefully cripple it. Meanwhile, we launched a perhaps ill-fated campaign at Guadalcanal, which is going to be without supply next turn. But essentially, I landed troops thinking that Guadalcanal was unoccupied, and I was wrong. So there's that. I have 1 unit that may bring in reinforcements, but we'll see if the Americans commit forces to the region, because if they do, we're kind of screwed. I may have triggered like an AI response, but we'll see. Anyway, guys, that's the situation. One other thing. In Argentina, which has declared war on our behalf, we've taken Porto Alegre, and we're advancing on Sao Paulo, as well as potentially Rio de Janeiro. So we'll see what that has in store next turn. But let's go ahead and end the turn, and we'll move into September as the Allies get their turn. Axis activity hinders Allied supplies in Crete. Allied raiders disrupting Japanese convoy. Tsar Boris III of Bulgaria dies and is succeeded by his 6-year-old son Simon III. I don't know if that matters. Japan develops mobility. Oh my god, guys, we got mobility. Maybe we'll actually be able to move through China now. That we've been researching that forever. And these Chinese mountains and this Chinese terrain has been incredibly difficult for Japan. So maybe, just maybe, we can see a little bit more success there. You can see the British armor moving into Eligala, Americans reinforcing their garrison in on Guadalcanal. Soviets are pulling some of their headquarters back from Stalingrad, which makes sense. We did, off-screen, I did one thing, and I attacked an Italian infantry unit against a Soviet headquarters unit there. But we'll see. Looks like they're reinforcing at Baku, which is actually good for us. I was worried they were going to swap the heavy experienced unit in with the level 10 troops. Instead, they put in 7 fresh IPs of completely inexperienced troops, which should be good for us. Meanwhile, the American destroyers here off the coast of Guadalcanal have moved in. An American aircraft carrier has been spotted as well to the south of Guadalcanal. So perhaps our landing here has triggered an American response that may start the American counterattack in the Pacific. I'm not sure, but the counterattack should have already been underway. It hasn't been, for whatever reason. Soviet tactical bombers trying to hit our infantry there. British attack bombers. Apparently we don't have any escorts in that area. Ugh, that was some pretty devastating rocket artillery fire. I guess horses probably don't like rocket artillery fire. Just a hunch. Yikes. That Italian troop suffered some pretty heavy casualties and didn't do much good. This is very Stalingrad-esque, where our sort of a position in the south is held by Allied troops rather than troops that we really can rely on or trust. I'm also curious how the Soviets have so many level 10 units when there's no way they've got enough units that have built up enough experience to be considered elite, where they can buy elite reinforcements. That seems fishy to me. Alright, good. That cavalry retreated beyond the reach of, I think, any Soviet troops, so should be able to reinforce next turn. Meanwhile, the British attack at Cairo again and fail to take the city, barring any unforeseen reinforcements arriving. The garrison shall hold out one more turn. Meanwhile, the Italians advancing on the new Soviet capital have been attacked twice and badly handled, but not defeated, not destroyed. Our armor should be able to get into reach at least to the first defensive line this turn, and then hopefully maybe 2 turns from now, if we're really lucky, we can take the city. Meanwhile, dealing with all this Soviet pressure elsewhere, these heavy tanks must be extra bad in wooded terrain, because every time I try and move this heavy tank out of Pskov, it basically just gets horrible odds in any attack. Much worse than anything the regular tanks do. And again, I'm pretty sure that's because they're getting penalties for being, you know, heavy armor in terrible terrain, which makes some sense. All right, that Soviet unit in this National Morale Center here counterattacked against the Bulgarians and did no damage, so that's good. They're not going to dig in another turn. And actually, they should start to slowly lose supply so that, you know, by the time we get to winter or something like that, they may be completely out of supply. They do get a little bit more supply because they are in a city, but I don't think they can draw. I think eventually their supply will whittle down. Meanwhile, the British apparently have a level 3 armored unit in China. That is sort of concerning, but sort of funny because they're in a position where they're really not going to get good supply. It's not armored terrain. We don't really have anything to stand against them. I don't think we have any Japanese tanks anymore. I think the one unit we had might have been destroyed. I'm not sure. Interesting, the American mechanized unit looks like it pulled away. I really hope they're not going for an invasion of Sicily quite yet. Meanwhile, the British throwing in massive reinforcements here into Burma. They've now got 3 units near Rangoon. Why are the Soviets moving a rocket artillery unit to the front? That's weird. I'm hoping the turn's about over. We really badly mauled a British Special Forces unit with our garrison troops because they were just in a position where they had no supply. Meanwhile, I think the British are going to land some raiding parties here in Norway. We've got an amphibious unit here off the coast. I mean, they could take Norway for all I know. I mean, I'm not really in a good position there to kind of hold Norway. More American destroyers against our Japanese destroyers here near Guadalcanal. More American aircraft carriers in action here. Multiple American aircraft carriers. Oh boy! We spotted the American fleet. Too bad the rest of our fleet is near the Indian Ocean and nowhere near positioned to be able to deal with these guys. Nor do I necessarily want to race headlong into a full-blown invasion against, or full-blown naval battle against the Americans. I'd rather cripple the British from a morale perspective, especially since I'm going to be fighting them much more, I don't know what the right word is, but sooner. Sooner is probably a good word. Allies have swung Turkey 19% toward the Allies. Shit. So the Allies are investing in diplomacy in Turkey. Huh. We'll have to see where that... They were slightly favoring the Axis last I checked, but that would be a problem if the Turkish joined the Allies. They're in our rear. Still only 10% for the Allies. Meanwhile, new German units, new heavy tanks. We'll deploy them near Königsberg. We're going to reinforce these guys. They can only get 2 reinforcements. That's lame. Alright. These tanks can only get 1. Lovely. It's because I have no headquarters around here, so the supply is atrocious. I really would like to reinforce these guys, but I'd rather fall them back and just have them attack the armor in the city there. I think that'd be our better bet, because I want to get them upgraded before I do anything. Okay. Meanwhile, it'd be cool if we could destroy this light tank. He's a little bit exposed. Let's see if we can do that. Aw, we drove him away. That wasn't quite what I wanted to do. I wonder if I can destroy that garrison. Sure would be tempting. You can see the rain is starting here in the east, which makes me feel like the winter is almost upon us. What's this guy dug in? Is this a city? Level 1 entrenchment. I'd like to see if I can get a hex adjacent to the Soviet capital. Can't hit that tank either. So the Stuka can't quite get there. Shit. We weren't supposed to lose any casualties there. Alright, this guy should be able to move, I'm thinking. He can't move there? Really? Huh. Well, that's lame. So we just drove them back for no purpose? You know, we're going to move one of these headquarters up to this town, but apparently this guy can't move that far. I guess it might be worth operating. I know that's a lot of money, but I need that headquarter unit at the front. Alright, so we just drove that guy back. I can't actually kill him, though. Be interesting to kill these guys, though. Kazan is only held by a garrison unit. Alright, so it just took Kazan in the north. So our tanks will be moving in here on the flank of this position. Meanwhile... God, I'm really annoyed that I can't move across the Volga here and be 1 hex adjacent to frickin' the Soviet capital. Why can I only get 1 level of reinforcement, too? Let's upgrade this guy. Can't even operate this guy. How far can he drive? It's going to hurt his morale to get moved that far. This really kind of pisses me off. Alright. Meanwhile, these guys' supplies down to 2. Their entrenchments at 1. Nice. Did a little bit of damage. These guys need to reinforce. They're probably going to die next turn, but at least they're a distraction. Jesus. Note to self, don't attack those guys. Alright. Meanwhile, in the south, these guys are down to 0 supply. These guys are also done. So we just destroyed a Soviet heavy armored unit here in the south. This guy needs to reinforce because he's way overextended. Artillery. Our Stukas can bomb Baku, but apparently not our heavy bombers, because our heavy bombers are located in bad weather at the moment. Which is just grand. Okay, we'll swap them. So it's another turn that Baku does not fall. The good thing is we damaged both units north in the city and the unit adjacent to the city. I don't know why I didn't. I guess I'll move him closer, so hopefully we can bombard and take Baku next turn. I had hoped to take it this turn, but next turn we'll have to do. I'm gonna reinforce these guys for a little bit. God, I'm really pissed off that this whole situation unfolded where I should have just used my damn infantry and then sprung with the mechanized troops. In any event, we've got a large number of armored units here kind of coming in on a bit of a pincer here. I think the terrain's about to change, but I do think that once the weather does turn, I think we will be at least reasonably well off when it comes to fighting in snow, or when like it freezes. They're good. It's good terrain, I think, for an advance. Okay. At least in theory, we're softening these guys up. See, that's the problem with strafing runs. It's like, for the German aircraft, their strafing runs don't do anything. All they do is lose casualties. Does moderately hurt the morale of the troops being strafed. I am gonna force march those guys. I think I heard you guys tell me it hurts my morale to do that, but I need to get them closer to the front, and they weren't in very good shape there. Alright, let's pull these guys back 1. Okay. Alright, we'll move that army over there. I'm going to move these guys to Kalinin just to make sure it doesn't easily fall into the Soviet hands. Also puts us adjacent to a partisan hex, which I didn't even realize. Okay. And then we need to operate these guys to the front. And they're an army, an infantry army. So I'm going to operate them to the front that we're advancing on, the capital, or as close to it as we can get. Alright, so the heavy armor deployed. This Italian heavy armor needs to operate as well. Question is, where do we want it? I mean, I could move it to... where do we want the Italian heavy armor? It's actually decent armor. It's a level 2, so it's not quite level 3, but it's not worthless. Part of me says east over here, but I think the Volga is going to get in the way of us deploying a lot of our troops to maximum effect. We'll move them that way, though. We'll see what happens. We detected an American battleship. Hey, we did some damage to it, too. All right. These guys are cut off. Interesting if the British tanks there are still without supply. Nope, they've got some supply. Alright, so probably just got that unit destroyed, but it was already low on supply anyway. It probably would have died next turn. The Cairo garrison will hang in there, hopefully for another turn. Alright. I'm not going to attack Sevastopol. At least not yet. These guys reinforced. These guys attacked. We move them. So yeah. Hopefully we can get some better weather for our heavy bombers there. Actually, that was foolish. I should move them back. I don't want that oil well falling into Soviet hands. Alright, so that's going to do it for the German front, I think. We do need to go back down to Argentina. I don't know if I can see that far in advance. What if I... No, can't fast move them. Oh, nice. Okay, so Sao Paulo is unoccupied. So very good. We took this second important city in Brazil, and we're now moving on the capital at Rio de Janeiro. So we'll see. I'm assuming the Brazilians will have a strong force here, which may preclude any realistic chance of us taking the capital. But we'll see. You know, if Brazil were to be knocked out of the war, I would, you know, would certainly, that wouldn't be bad news. I wouldn't be upset by it by any means. All right, so we're going to attack at Rangoon again. We're going to move this army here, attack there. The armor will move and attack the rear of the British column. Headquarters unit will move into Molman to give us better supply. I should have just used my battleships in that direction, in that area, but I didn't. God damn it. Alright, so I detected a British battleship. Can we hit him from over here? We can. He's in range. Down goes the British battleship Valiant. It valiantly fell in combat. Oh, shit. British cruisers. Alright. Our other carriers I don't think can get in range. But certainly our other battleships can. Oh no! More British heavy ships! I think I'm probably deploying a turn too soon. Oh, goddamn. Alright, so that British heavy cruiser is dead. I'm assuming I can't attack if I do this. Yeah. Whoops. I didn't want to do that. And there's no undo option. Great. So we'll move him here. Alright, so we should finish off this portion of the British fleet next turn, I'm hoping. It doesn't look like there's any other ships, because our ships just sailed way wide. So this must be what's left of their fleet in the Bay of Bengal. So sure would be nice to wipe them out. Meanwhile, I think we're going to move this guy to Saigon, this guy to Kamran Bay. Elite reinforcements for our aircrew? Faux show. Destroyer needs reinforcements. We'll move it to Hong Kong because we know we can build there. Alright, so that does it for the naval aspect. I kind of went off half-cocked, if you will, against the British fleet, but I think, I'm hoping anyway, that we might actually be okay. The British Navy, how many ships do they have? We got a naval. The Americans have 38 ships. The British are down to 21. And we know some of those are in Atlantic waters, so I don't know how much they still have here. Soviets actually have 8 ships. Wow. Air units. It's amazing to me that the Americans only have 6 air units. Their air force has not been invested in heavily at all. Meanwhile, the Soviet strength continues to drop. They were at 74 at the end of last turn. They're at 72 now. Alright, we'll attack those guys. Swap them out. Attack again. Nice. Nearly destroyed that unit. It's a very good result. Too bad none of these guys down here in the south can move at all. Freaking terrain, right? But the good news is we can upgrade our mobility. So with upgraded mobility, perhaps comes the ability. Wow, that sounds ironical. With upgraded mobility, perhaps the ability. The ability, not obility. Anyway, so let's advance. Oh my god, a whole shit ton more Chinese troops. I'd rather just bomb these guys. They do have some interceptors, surprisingly enough. Alright, so Japanese aircraft continue to be good against ground targets. But our troops can't march far. Yeah, I should really look into starting to upgrade some of these units then. Not quite sure what the rules are around upgrading, but I should really look into it. Can we hit him? We can. Apparently we can't do any damage to him, though. And those guys can't hit him at all. Come on, guys. It says you're going to do damage to him. You're doing jack diddly. Did you forget to bring your bombs? Come on, guys. We're marching, marching to the south of China. with our troops, our brave, brave troops. Should I sing more for you guys? Who likes the singing? Who would like to hear more? Find out next time. Interesting that there's no partisans in that city. Alright, so that does it, I think, for the Japanese in China. I don't think we can do anything more there. We can't do anything more in Rangoon. The American carriers are around here somewhere, but this sub needs to... No! Can you switch to amphibious, please? Fuck. I want you to switch to amphibious. Well, that also sucks because now the American fleet's in the area, which means it's going to be doubly hard to do anything. Alright, so we're really reinforcing the hell out of Rabaul. Oh, I didn't want you to do that. I want you to actually sail to Singapore. All right, so hopefully next turn, I'm hoping this carrier can't escape because it is pinned in on 4 sides. It might well destroy one of our ships, though, but I don't think it'll destroy 2. So if we can get the carrier and the cruiser at the expense of 1 ship, that would be pretty awesome. If we actually take a look at the reports of the British, if we look at their graphs and we go to their MPPs, this was a disastrous turn for them because of the naval losses. If we look at their national morale, they're probably going to get something back due to the taking of Cairo, which will happen soon. But, yeah, that's the situation there. I have no desire to attack their tanks, so we'll just kind of dig in and wait. How is the supply for these guys? Supply 7. He is adjacent to a headquarter unit. Ugh. I don't know how we're going to deal with them. Maybe we just need to suck it up and move some of our air units south. Pull a little bit less supply from the troops. I think they can probably batter their way there by themselves. Diplomacy. Part of me wants to just try and spend a little bit in Turkey, if only to, like, convince the Turks not to join the Allies. So I think we're going to do that. I don't think the Turks are going to join us, but if the Turkish government will at least stay neutral, that would sure be helpful. So we'll put some diplomacy efforts behind them. I think we're still trying to convince Syria. Syria is at 71%. So, you know, one big event might swing Syria all the way to us, which will cause the British some problems, I think. Meanwhile, what does our production situation look like in terms of pending? Japanese are going to get 2 more carriers in 44, nothing till then. The Italians have a heavy tank unit coming in December. Should have really just gotten regular tanks, but I didn't have enough. I didn't have any more hexes for regular tanks. And the Germans will get 1 more army in December as well. Germany, we can build more troops from Germany, actually. Might be even worthwhile getting a new Argentinian army. I guess we'll have to wait and see what Buenos Aires has in store for us. I can afford a level 1 army. We'll do that. We'll just buy another army for the Germans, and then we'll upgrade it when it arrives. The more troops we get, the better. We need more. Meanwhile, the Italians... I'm surprised how many armored units the Italians are allowed to have. They're allowed to have up to 5. That's honestly kind of surprising. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this turn, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. I think actually for... The thing is with the Italians at this stage in the war, it's like I feel like any money I'm spending on research, I'm just kind of throwing away because I don't think I'm ever going to get it. But it'd be real great if Germany could just say, here's our, here's research money. Or here's our, our technology. But anyway. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you're enjoying this series as always. And until next time, this is the Historical Gamer once again saying thank you for watching. We may have waited too long to go after the Soviet capital. We'll see. I still am optimistic that we might be able to get here, especially with air support. We didn't fare too poorly in the winter of 42, so hopefully the winter of 43 isn't too bad for us. But we'll see. Until next time, though, when we'll find out a little bit more, this is the Historical Gamer saying thank you for watching, and I'm out.